All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to a regular Wednesday broadcast for the American Richie Mahjong League. Somewhat amazingly, we have zero games scheduled for the evening. So if you were looking forward to some exciting Mahjong action, we don't have any to provide. Typically, Wednesday, a very busy day for the league, but not this particular one. And that means that we have some extra time to do whatever we want. In this instance, we've passed the halfway point of the season, which means it's kind of setting ourselves up for the exciting conclusion to the winter season. And we're approaching the final couple of sessions where the play starts to get a little bit more exciting. Players start to look at their position in the standings and play for promotion or to avoid demotion, as the case may be. And so we're going to recap that a little bit, how the season's gone for all the divisions. And before we start that, a quick congratulations in order to Matthew for winning the 2023 championship. It was an exciting battle. I had the opportunity to play against Matthew Lucas at Kenyon, and it went Matthew's way pretty much the entire series, but played very well and locked it away in the final couple of games on Sunday to confirm his place as the second champion of the American Richie Mahjong League. Very exciting series, and if you missed it, we have VODs available on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@AmericanRichie, if you want to see exactly what went down there. But let's go right into the standings, starting with, I guess we're right here in the A1 division. This has been a really exciting season for the players at the top. Simon and Dustin have been pretty dominant throughout. Dustin, of course, winning a Yakuman and dealing into Yakuman. That means that he's sort of evened out, but still with a very, very nice positive score, plus 129.1. And Simon's been consistent throughout. Look at that win percentage, 29.9%. Decent average as well. An extremely low deal-in average, less than 4,000. And that really showing why he's up here at the top. Still 4 games to play in session 4, and those will be starting tomorrow evening, I believe. So we'll see if Simon is able to hold on to his top spot and maybe even improve his lead. I believe there's a couple other tables that, just one other table that will be finishing their games on Monday. So this session almost completely finished for the A1 players. Jonathan also and Zalong also doing well up at the top. However, big question is going to be what's going to happen on the demotion side of things. Currently, we have Garrick, Matthew, Alex, Kevin, and Claire in that spot. However, a lot can change even in the next few games that are yet to be played in this A1 division. A chance for some movement up out of the demotion zone or down into that relegation zone. So a lot can happen in these next few games. I have to say, for A1, my personal opinion is that every player will demote eventually. There's only 24 games in a season, therefore there's always a little bit of a chance that you get some bad variance and end up with an unlucky season, and there's just nothing you can do but to demote. But A2 is quite strong as well, so it'll be exciting battle in that division, and you always have a chance to climb back up. I very much doubt that the current positions in the relegation zone, as we see it now, will be what it looks like in the final. There's a decent chance that I find myself down there as well. All right, let's see who's a player from the A2 division. I have a name in mind that I can use to swap the screens over. This A2 division has been increasingly more difficult as time has gone on. And just look at what's happening at the top of this division. Julian, Eric, Bicha, and Clinton all over 100 points. Kenya now taking the 5th position with an excellent set of 4 games in this most recent session 4. She has been continuing that good form from the championship series and making a run for promotion right back into A1. Aaron and Sarah and Vincent following behind in the upper portion of the standings. And I have to say, Clinton has had a really crazy season, and uh, there was one series where he won two Yakumans. That was a big story in the early portion of the season. It's a big reason why he is up at plus 128.5 right now. But players like Julian, Eric, Bichen have just been very consistent in their climb up towards the top. Eric with six firsts and 7 seconds, great renti rate, and a huge average win of 6,384. He's a player that likes Torichi and likes Torichi for Bungon. Definitely reflected in the average win value there. Also winning 26% of his hands, similar to Clinton 28.6 and Kenyon 27.4. Those are extremely high win rates for high divisions such as A1 and A2. And so not surprising to see them up at the top. In the lower side of the standings, we have Eric, Hunley, Steve, and Riley Jen. Currently, too early to say any sort of confirmed relegation here, because there's always a chance that you can go on a huge run. We've seen already a couple series that have gone plus 100 or more this season. But of course, it's going to take several good firsts in order to escape for a couple of these players. And I gotta say, A2 Division's relegation battle has always come down to the final couple of games. So we won't really be able to tell for sure what's going to happen until that Session 6 matchup. But the current positions are fairly small compared to what they usually are. The cut line, I think, typically around 100 to minus 120 for relegation. So players in this current position in Session 4, I guess all of these players have completed their Session 4 games. So for Session 5, we'll be probably targeting that minus 100 mark. Stay ahead of minus 100 for the next couple of series. And similarly, on the positive side again, promotion line is usually around 100. So if Clinton, Beach, and Eric Julian can stay above that mark, they'll probably be in very good standing going into the final session. And of course, Kenyon, Aaron, Sarah, Vincent, all those players will be aiming to hit that plus 100 mark going into Session 6. All right. Let me think of a B1 player. The first one that pops into my head, of course, is League Founder. Let's see if we can get those standings to reflect the B1 division. One of the craziest divisions of all of ARML, B1, has such a great mix of play styles that you can never predict what's going to happen. And this season has certainly been record setting already. Uh, my eyes are immediately attracted to the top spot. Barry, completely dominating this season, has been dominating since the very first series. And finally in Session 4, took his first fourth of the season. It was a very small one, but it's what's currently preventing him from holding the record for the most number of points scored in any division in all of the American Riichi Mahjong League history. I believe that mark is right around 390, and the minus 20 he took in that fourth place was just enough to knock him below that. However, there still are 6 games yet to go, so we are anticipating perhaps a new record for Barry. Can he be the first player to make it over 400 points in a single season? He certainly has the skill to do that, and a lot of games yet to play. So many chances to hit that mark. And right after him, though, Jay also with an excellent performance, plus 234.6. Rachel doing quite well, ready to move right back into A2. And Michael's been having a great season as well, coming back from a little break with incredibly low deal-in average. Love to see these low numbers. Al as well, If you just look at the top five, the one players currently in the promotion zone, there are 4 out of 5 players in single digit deal in percent, and that is playing a huge role in the being up here at the top. I love to see low deal in averages, deal in percent and averages. I mean, Barry is just an anomaly here with 34.1% win rate and 7.0 deal at, just incredible. With the lowest average deal in too, only deals into cheap hands for, again, what could be a record-setting season in many ways. But players beyond this, Josh, Kayla, or actually Josh close behind, a little bit more of a gap than to Kayla, Gauhan, and Edwin. I do have to point out, Edwin has been making a charge up the standings as of late, but playing quite well. And Amy, I think, also recently had a great series to charge up the standings as well. And so anything is possible in these last couple of sessions. I believe this table has almost completely finished their session 4 games. So they will have 2 sessions remaining starting next Monday. In the lower side of the division, we've got currently Andrew, John, Pio, Philip, and Henry in the relegation zone. However, with as crazy as this season has been, a swingy plus 80 minus 80 series, who knows what's going to happen in these upcoming 2 sessions. Again, too early to say anything for sure, but the target line of minus 100 still stands for B1 just as it does in A1. So players will be trying to stay above that mark, or if already below, trying to hit that in the next series and a half. And of course, the final 2 games of session 6, the most important ones. Your fate is in those 2 games, determined in those 2 games. So it will be really interesting to see how the players that are just outside of the relegation zone choose to play it. We're looking at Harrison, who recently had some positive scores, Ryan as well, who is just ahead of that cut line, and Heidi and Greg, who are also in the negatives. Um, Especially when you consider the chance at bonus promotion slots, which are not necessarily a guarantee every season, but typically with players taking a break, going on hiatus, you might see 1 or 2. Um, the players that are sitting in the middle of the division feel a little more incentive to fight for those potential bonus promo slots. And that's one of the great things about this league. There's always something to play for, no matter where you are sitting in these standings. And I do want to point out one more thing from this division. There is an
Yep.
incredibly exciting session coming up, and I think
Oh,
I think oh, is it Jen?
hey,
Hey,
this
how's
is
it going?
Jen. What's up?
I was just about to say that there is a session. I think the top 4 players in this B1 division are going to be playing each other, and let me share this so that you can see.
Oh,
Barry,
I gotta
J,
click off.
Rachel, Michael would be an exciting table to watch for sure. And Jen, you just left this division. I just talked about A2, um, but I was gonna ask, how has the play been A2 versus B1? Has it been most of the same thing, or has there been a difference in play styles?
I know I've been losing more, so it's probably better.
That's true. Although
Better than me, at least.
there's always variance, so we'll
No,
see.
I've made a lot of mistakes this season, I think. But yeah, I think the players feel strong.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Hmm.
feel like the gap between A2 and A1 has basically disappeared. Anyone can hop in and out of those 2 divisions. It almost feels like.
I mean, there's so much, like, it moves up and down so quickly with 4 seasons,
Mhm.
so I mean, a lot of the people in A2 I'm playing now were in B1 with me, so Yeah, I'm not sure playstyle is that different, but maybe everybody is more on guard, I guess.
That's a good point. I mean, it'd be one. It feels like the Wild West, where there are all sorts of playstyles, really aggressive ones, really defensive ones, unique playstyles, and everyone's just shooting for the top. And maybe once they hit A2, everyone settles down a bit. Says, okay, I got to be a little bit more careful here.
They're on guard, but I still feel like they're aggressive. So
Mm,
yeah, it's you can't just like make make an early reach and expect everyone to fold. But
that's
they're
true.
really good at folding, I guess.
Good. It's been a
Yeah, it's
while.
hard to remember the names.
It's been a while since I've been in A2, so I'm very curious to know what the feel of the division is. I mean, there's a decent chance every season I feel like I'm going to go back to A2 and actually let me pop back in there so we can see the players since we're talking about that division.
Oh no, don't look at me.
It'll
That's fine.
take just a second to update and yeah, it feels like I recognize so many of these names as former A1 players. Of course, Bichen looks to be close to moving back. Kenyon close to moving back. Aaron is also in the hunt to promote there. Andrew is a former B1 player, and Kaz is a former B1 player or A1 player, I should say. All these A1 players currently residing in A2, but really pressing hard to get back, and it feels like they have a decent chance to do so. And then, as you said, a lot of B1 players who promoted with you here as well.
Yeah,
Seeing
there were a lot this time, I think, because of hiatuses and stuff.
right,
So
I remember
I guess,
the last season was really small, right? 16 players or something like that.
yeah, I wasn't even supposed to move up. I got lucky. After twice in a row, I've gotten lucky to move up. So
You say that, but I
I'll,
guess
I'll
it also makes sense that I mean you put yourself in a position to be able to do that. I'll never feel
mm.
bad for getting the bonus promo slot.
Oh yeah, definitely not feel bad, but uh, I feel like I could have tightened up my play a bit more.
Mm. Uh, is there any difference that you're going to make moving into the final two sessions compared to the early portion of the season?
Mm.
Or maybe you don't want to give
Hmm.
away your secrets on stream, but
No, there are no secrets. I don't know. I say I just have to be aggressive at this point.
mm,
I'm already in demotion, the demotion zone, so gotta get out of there somehow. For two sessions has been pretty much plus minus zero
mm,
almost. So um, yeah, I gotta make something work. I mean, even with the standings as they are now, it's actually possible for almost anybody around down to my position to still move up with two more sessions left. So yeah, I haven't even taken my eyes off of the chance of moving up, even with this big negative.
no, that's great. I mean, especially considering that there could also be bonus promo slots. Even if you don't
Mm,
make the top five, there still might be an extra one. Of course, you want to finish as high as you can. Let's see, the gap is right now like 140 between you and Kenyon, maybe a little bit higher than 140, but that is
yeah,
achievable in two sessions for sure.
but I'm playing Kenyan, so if I and
Oh, so that so first of all, it's going to be
Uh,
more challenging, but also you can direct hit and try to swap places
right,
that way.
right. So it's in this last two sessions, especially, it's really important to be aware of who's at the table with you if you have a chance to, because then you only need half the points if you can take them from them, right? So.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess you got the chance to preview the play of Kenyon because I know you were commentating the
Yeah,
first two games of the championship game series.
true.
Thank you
I'm
for
not.
commentating and making it as professional as you could. It was
That's fun.
Definitely an unfortunate series for me, but hopefully you had fun casting it.
Yeah, yeah, it's always fun. I really like commentating, and I don't really get the chance to do it ever. So I
Oh,
think ARML is. We did some WRC commentating, but other than that, I think this is the first chance I've had to really commentate regularly.
hmm.
So,
We definitely
um,
appreciate hearing your commentary.
yeah, but I'm not sure how much that's gonna help, honestly, to that I saw Kenyon play, and now we're gonna be at the same table.
Hmm.
It might work. It might be actually like detrimental. So I'm gonna try not to think about it too much.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely have a lot of respect for Kinnan after being demolished by her my first couple seasons in A1 with her, and so always a fierce competitor and great at over the board mahjong as well. We always seem to face each other in IRL tournaments as well.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I think a lot of you guys see each other in IRL tournaments, and that's something I don't. So, like, probably my play style is quite different.
Yeah, that's. I don't know if anyone's had the chance to ask you about um, the difference playing IRL in Japan versus online in this sort of American league. I imagine the online play is much more aggressive. Is my guess. I don't know if that's it's actually true.
Yeah, yeah, there are definitely more calls.
Hmm.
Um, a lot more like two away calls,
Oh, I see.
two away and three away calls. I think. Then I think that it's more conservative in most of the leagues. People don't often call like three times in one hand, even.
Hmm.
Usually, if you can't get tempai within two hands, then people are folding. So that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, I
And
guess I've heard that too. Like if someone's two calls, watch out, they're probably tempai, and if they're three calls, it's 100%. And you rarely see, the three call not being tempai, but I've actually seen that a couple times in ARML.
yeah, I don't think it's that rare in Armo, I think. And I don't mind it. I think it's a good like kind of semi-bluffing play.
Yeah, I actually I
So,
really like bluffing if I think my opponents will respect it, but that's not always the case. It's a bit dependent on who you're playing, I guess.
I mean, you have to really know your opponents to know if that's going to work or not. If you don't know your opponents really well, then it usually backfires. I think
Yeah, that's true. I
so.
mean, you are certainly incredibly vulnerable with three calls, even if you are tempai. And if you're not tempai,
Mm.
that's really problematic.
And like if you're watching M-Leaguers play and stuff, these players know each other so well that the plays they're making are not the same plays that they would make like in the normal league.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe in league because they know each other pretty well too, but it's really different than if they're playing online against players they don't know or um yeah, they're really like they're not saying, okay, everybody's gonna think this if I discard this. They're saying, okay, so Katsumata's gonna think this if I discard this. You know,
Uh,
it's not, it's very, very specific and very um, like catered to the opponent.
mm,
Especially like when Katsumata plays and uh, Oi. I think the very top pros they can read each other really well.
yeah,
And
that's
so I think when you're making like three calls, I mean, I guess if you have a general idea of the play style for the league, then maybe. But I feel like people are so aggressive in Armel that it's hard to get people off a hand just by calling three times. At least in the lower leagues. Maybe in A1 you can do that.
yeah. Well, one of the nice things about A1 being capped at 20 players is a decent amount of the players will see each other again next season. And in fact, due to players bouncing up and down between A1 and A2 so frequently, most of the players have played each other before multiple times. So there is
Mm.
starting to be this sort of understanding about how each other plays, and every time someone hits A1 for the first time, it shakes up the league a little bit or the division a little bit. It's like, all right, what's going to happen with this player? We don't know how they play just yet, and it's always really interesting. I guess one exception is when Viet joined A1. Um, he's well known for being extremely extremely knowledgeable about bot play and Naga and things like that. And so you can predict that he will react similarly to the way a Naga would, um, just due
Mm,
to his knowledge and appreciation of statistical based mahjong. But
I see.
outside of that, like new players always really exciting to see how they shift the meta.
Yeah, yeah, that's like a huge disadvantage for me as well because I don't know any of the players. And I moved up almost every season, I think, except the first one.
Mm.
So
It's a new experience every
I guess
time.
I should be watching, yeah, I should be watching people more in the broadcasts and stuff. But
But now
mm,
that you've hit A2, I mean, you're part of the upper half of ARML cycle where a lot of these players are going to be repeat players from now on.
yeah, possibly, unless I keep my current position.
Well, even then, I feel like the B1 currently has a lot of players that started ARML, 2 years ago. So
Mm.
uh, even if you stick between B1 and A1, I think the number of repeats will increase every season. But of course, we're all rooting for you to get that promotion spot and head to A1.
How are you doing in A1? I didn't, I
Oh,
missed that
let me
part.
hop back up there so we can see. It's not amazing, but it's it's fine. I think I'm kind of middle of the pack with a negative score. Okay, less than middle of the pack at 13.
Ah,
I'm really happy to have escaped the relegation zone. I was there in the previous session, but had a really fortunate session with a lot of hands that just rebuilt themselves. I'm hoping for more of those because my first couple sessions were a little bit rough.
yeah, my last session was mostly, I mean, I streamed it. I think it might be, the VOD might be up, I'm not sure, but it was mostly just cannot tempai no matter what I do.
Yeah, that was my first two
So hopefully I got that out of
sessions.
the way. Yeah.
Every time I did get temp, I would fight and then lose. So it was almost better when I didn't get tempai. But yeah, what is your name again for people who are watching and want to know? It's Mahjong Jen, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's everything's Mahjong Gen. Oh yeah, sometimes I ask them to put that on the commentator
Yeah.
instead.
Twitch.tv/ Mahjong Jen with one N.
Yeah, yeah, everything I have is Mahjong Gen except Tenho. You, it was too long for Tenho. That's
Oh,
the only reason why I don't have it there.
really? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. That's too many characters? 10
It was,
characters?
yeah, it was too many
Wow.
characters, so I had to shorten it to
Yeah,
MJ Gen.
YouTube for the Prost series, Twitter as well. All the good stuff. You want to see more from Jen. Uh, Mahjong done everywhere. And I know you
I
have.
was supposed to talk about this, but yeah, we have I guess the biggest thing is if people want to improve in ARML as the study sessions that we just started.
Yeah, I just you just had one recently, and you're gonna have one soon in the future. How did that first study session go?
I mean, in my opinion, it went so good. So we had Go Saito, who is a YouTuber. So so he's used to like commentating on his hand while he plays, since he streams a lot. And so I just interpreted. He basically did a stream of one game, and I just interpreted it in real time, right there. And then we went over hands afterwards. But it's so in depth. Like uh, we had we had an hour and a half to go over just one table, and we only got through two hands, I think.
Wow, that's crazy. Were you looking at everyone's hand and analyzing each one?
Yeah, so we'd start with yeah, Goshi. He is also Tenhoi, exactly. Thank you, Korak. Um he so we'd start with his hand and go through each discard and answer questions and also look at the other players' hands at the same time and answer their questions because they're all in the voice chat as well. So each person would say what they're thinking for certain discards or ask if this was the way they should be thinking
Hmm.
or yeah, it was super, super in depth. I'm fully bilingual, so I think it's the first time we've ever had like a study session like that with a Japanese pro who can't speak English, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
what a great opportunity! Because there really hasn't been the chance to pick the brain of a professional player, and then having you able to translate is an incredible opportunity. So, is that was that recorded anyway? Is there a way we can watch that?
we recorded, yeah. So I accidentally pressed virtual camera instead of record on
Oh,
OBS.
I'm
So I
familiar
think
with that. I've done that too.
but, luckily there was a backup recording. So we got recording of the review session afterwards, but not the actual play commentary, which I'm really sad about because that was really good too.
Mm.
But the so I'm not gonna put the whole thing up, but we'll have clips up
Oh,
on
sweet.
YouTube and things. Yeah,
I
so
look forward to clips of that.
there's so
That
many
seems
things to edit that it's really hard to get to everything. But uh, yeah, so I'll probably actually go over some of that, and that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm having a full study year.
okay.
So this is kind of like inviting people to join me in that year of study. Having study sessions and stuff because I really want to win ARML.
Yeah, it's true, and I've seen lots of people joining your a Discord server where the study session has been happening, and
Right. I don't want to stream it. I want it to be more intimate so people can ask questions, in real time and stuff. It's a little bit uh, more comfortable
yeah,
than like a Twitch stream.
yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
when can we look forward to the next one happening?
March 24th, I believe, for US times.
Okay, March
Uh,
24.
so it's the same day as the Philly tournament, which is unfortunate, but uh, everybody has schedules. So
Right.
Shintaro Kono, who is already a guest on Prost, will be the guest.
Cool. Okay, March 24th. Everybody save the date. And I see that you can have a better chance to get in that game as a subscriber to Jen's Twitch channel. So you
It's
want to
turned
have a
into a
better
full-on
chance.
commercial, but the thing is that for professionals, I really have to like pay them to come.
Hmm.
So I'm happy to just foot the bill because I need to study. But if people want to help contribute, then it's very welcome.
And we're
So
definitely
subscribing is
getting
one way to contribute.
yeah, we're definitely getting some great study material off of it. So I think that's definitely worthwhile. And all
Um,
study for the sake to improve, and maybe we'll see Jen making a huge climb in the standings as a
yeah, if the
result.
study sessions work. I mean,
I'm
I come
also
to these study sessions. I recommend anybody who's in ARML to come and watch because it just like even I think Navitas came and even he said he got like different perspectives and I consider Navitas to be one of the strongest players in North America, if not the strongest. So, and definitely like one of the biggest students of the game.
absolutely. I know
Uh,
there were a couple, several A1 players who were there. I mean, Joe, I think, was one of the players
right.
in that game,
Mhm.
and also an
Yeah.
A1 player. So definitely, the if it's worthwhile for the top of Armel to learn something from, then everyone can benefit. I think.
Yeah, Joe has been like really really supportive of it from the announcement. So, yeah, and I think he got some insight as well. So I think it's very a very broad like spectrum. There's a very simple advice for what do I discard here,
Mhm.
and even longer for how to read other people's hands and things like that. So it's really not very so hard. Yeah, yeah, Yoshi-san. So I think that even if you're a new player, you can still get insight that will improve your game. And
Excellent.
even if you're as high as Navi, you can still get insight to improve your game. So hopefully, Light Pink Yoshi will come. Probably not the next one because I think he's in Philly, but maybe the one after that.
Yeah, it's
One
so
of my
many.
goals is to get Light Pink Yoshi-san to join the study session. at least once.
It would definitely be fun. It's so many tournaments now this year for the U.S. that it's clogging up the schedules, making it hard to get
True, but it's so
people to have
good.
free time.
Um, yeah, it's so good. I wish that I could be there for some of them. It's just so far, and tickets are so expensive after COVID. But that's why I'm so grateful for ARML that I can play against everybody,
Yep.
everybody that I've been to some tournaments and we see each other at WRC, but this has been really amazing to just play with and interact with everybody.
Yeah, I also concur. Just having this league has been so helpful to for me as a player, just to have a chance to play against other players from around the U.S. because I don't really have a local club. I mean, there's one in the area. It's a bit of a distance away, but just having the ability to play against players from all around the country, it's been such a big deal for me, and it's encouraged me to go to more of these in person tournaments.
Mm, I think that the format of because it's very different than like playing ranked on an app, right? So
Mm-hmm.
having this goal and the moves up, I mean it's pretty intense. It's even more sessions than we would play in like the professional leagues because we only play once a month, so there's only 2 seasons a year and only 5 sessions each season. Um, but yeah, I find it's really good practice even for the pro leagues. Um, I think having this kind of goal and this like immediate feedback for rankings is really good for play. It's something that we needed in the West for a long time,
Yeah, I definitely
or
appreciate.
hopes to have.
I definitely appreciate the fact that it's against people who I know. It feels better to lose against somebody who I know than the name anonymous player on ladders. So I definitely like the
Mm.
aspect of being able to lose to the same player over and over again, but then recognize, okay, that player is better than me. I can study their games and see and learn something from it.
Yeah, I actually put all my games into Naga after
Hmm.
each session as well. Whether I have time to go over all of them is another story, but I plug them in so they are there.
At least get a Naga score and say, okay, I did fine. My hands were never coming together anyway. But yeah, we went over a few of the divisions for the mid-season standings. We went through A1 through B1. B2 up next, and I guess it's a good division to be named Kevin because we've got number one and two, Kevin D and Kevin Q, and they are way up ahead. David K as well, plus 176. Anya and Quinn falling behind. All five players above 100 points. And that seems to be pretty consistent across all the divisions. If you can be above 100 points, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true for pro leagues as well. 100 points is a pretty good marker to aim for at the beginning of the season. So then you would like start saying, okay, so I just need to be positive, around 20 each
Mhm.
session, or average positive 20 around each session, and you're probably going to move up.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it because you can look at the gap. You could look at like who won the division last season and say, okay, they got 200 points, they got 150 points, they got 100 points. That's a lot to get in one session. I can go up, I can go down with a bad session. But like thinking it in smaller terms instead of like, oh, I just lost 40 points, with an uncomfortable fourth. Um, I only need to be plus 20, so that's what a first and a couple seconds, or maybe a couple one big first and a couple seconds, and a third, or
Yeah, you
maybe
can
a
get a
couple small
third
firsts.
even.
Right.
You can get a, plus 20 in one first place. So it makes it really easy, a lot easier to fold hands.
Yeah, you don't have to
Even if
be.
you're like really into going, but you're really invested in the hand, it makes it a lot easier if you say, okay, I don't need to win this hand. I don't need to. I think the time that I was doing best in League, that was when I was running a Mahjong parlor, actually, as well. So I was playing every day
Mm.
live, like probably 10, 15 hunt on a day. Um, and then you get to League and you just think, I only have to win basically 2 hands. And
Mm.
sometimes you're going to win more and sometimes you're going to win less, but it takes so much pressure off of each individual hand.
And we can see
Um,
at the top of the division, I mean, the dealing rates are very low, so definitely willing to give up on some hands if they think they're not going to get there first. Kevin Q with 7.6 is really strong, and 9.3 for Kevin D is also very strong. So definitely two players who recognize that uh, staying out of trouble is a good way to be safe. And when you take the couple wins that you can get, all of a sudden we're looking at some positive scores. I mean, eight first and seconds for
Ooh,
Kevin,
this is like
six,
how
12
they
for
say
Kevin.
defense wins Super Bowls, right?
Yeah, we've got some great defensive play at the top, and of
All
course,
right, this is what I need to study.
um,
My dealing rate is so high. But so I want to ask about this league, B2 league. We know Garth is down at the bottom because I think he actually missed an entire session and got a lot of penalties.
yes, that's what I
I
heard as well.
Right. So did those penalties go to the players that he was supposed to play against, or did they just get the points that they got with the sub? I think
Uh,
if they don't have a sub, they get points, but if they do have a sub, then they just get what they earn, or
right. If for some reason, and this is a really rare situation, the games cannot be played at all. There's no sub available. Then points will be distributed based off of the penalties. But in this instance, I believe a sub was found and they were able to play the games regardless. So they just got the points that they earned in those games. And unfortunately for Garth, he had to take the penalties. Uh,
I don't know if it's unfortunate, it's his fault.
well, I don't know
I
all the
don't feel
details
bad
on
for
that,
him.
but it sounds like
Nah, okay,
the
you guys don't
timing
have to feel
worked
bad
out
for
poorly.
him. He would admit that too, I promise.
But overall, like B2 division, stacked at the top, and also the relegation zone is going to be a really intense fight, given that players have already hit the minus 100 mark. It's going to be really intense around that area. So I
Yeah,
guess
this is another important like aspect because when you're playing in a real life tournament, once you have lost a certain amount of points, then there's really not much to play for anymore. Um, but when you're playing in a league, you really have to be in it until the very end to also try not to, relegate. So, God, I keep wanting to say regulate.
and
A 90s child. That's
the I guess when you're sitting, say you're a Garth here at minus 259, and then realize I've still got you know let's add 4 games to that total, so 10 games to play. Not completely out of it. Like if you chip away, is your goal isn't probably gain 20 points per session anymore. How does your goal change from that position?
I mean, you're just trying to get out of the relegation at that point. Uh, so before it's 20 points per session, right?
Mhm.
Or the one I said a little bit ago.
Right.
Yeah, I like demotion, but everybody uses relegate, so I was always using demotion and then okay, but anyways. So Garth would need, at least 100 points. So in that case, he's just trying to go for first every time, I would assume.
Okay.
And if he loses, then he's no worse off, basically.
Yeah. Do
But
you?
when pushes for first place every time, God, that freaking luck box gets it a lot of the times.
Okay, good to know. All right, so we should have our eyes on Garth because he's gonna be going for it all and gonna be hitting it too.
I mean, one more session. If he hits it the next session, then yeah, he's.
Yeah,
No, I don't have any content. I definitely am not speaking crap about Garth.
yeah. It's a difficult position. Like in the championship game, I fell down early, fell behind early, and had just sort of this sinking feeling like I got to go for it every time. I got to shoot for the moon. And maybe the gap wasn't so big that I didn't need to do that, but there's certainly a lot of pressure, and it's kind of difficult to play that style of mahjong.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, well, in your position like Garth, when in your games you were still, I was only watching the first two. So in that case, you still had a lot of time to come back. I didn't see the last two games.
Yeah, the third game I played a little bit. I played for the win, but still somewhat conservative. I didn't get too crazy. And in the last game, I was like uh, minus 50, and the leader is at plus 40 or something like that.
Yeah. So that in the first game, I mean, that really sucks, and you feel the pressure.
Hmm.
But you still actually have plenty of time to come back with that from that with three more games.
Right.
Um, that's something like when we play in the tournament. Well, in Japanese, we call it the tournament format, where you have to get first or second at the table,
Sure.
and you have 3 or 4 games to do that in. When you actually do the calculations out there before the last game, it's really amazing like how possible it is to come back into first place, even if you're last in the first one. Because I've been second in the first 2 games, and then the person who got last place in the first game has come in over and taken me many, many times.
Yeah, we
Um,
saw it in the championship game. After the first two games, I think I was at minus 26, and the other two players were at minus 10 respectively, and the leader was at
mm,
plus 51. But by the last hand of the last game, uh, I think Lucas and Kenyon both kind of had a shot to catch Matthew if they could uh, make things happen their way, and it fell a little bit short for Lucas, but ended up being quite close at the end, even though he didn't really have shoot for the moon or play play for just like play for it all. He's played very consistent, good mahjong, and managed to get himself into a position where he had a chance. If the last hand could have gotten
mm.
Tepai, there was a chance.
Yeah, that's why it's important. So in the how that relates to these normal sessions
Mm-hmm.
is that's why it's so important to know the scores of the people you're playing against. So that because if you get them in the negative, then that doubles the gap, like halves the gap, right?
Right.
I don't know the right words to use. So if you're not playing against them, you need 50 points to overtake them. But if you're playing against them, you only need 25-point difference.
Right, because any
So
every point that you're taking away from them directly lowers the gap that you have to catch
right.
up. Makes perfect sense.
So we have Garth misread the scheduled game. I know, but he scheduled the game, so I don't feel sorry for him at all. And the absent player just gets penalties, and no benefits are gained from the substitute player's performance. Uh, so they just get what they earned in the game with the substitute,
Yeah.
right?
Thanks, Edwin,
Okay,
for
yeah, that makes sense.
clarifying those rules. Yeah, this
So Garth, I don't know who he's playing against in the last sessions, but I think that he's basically going to be trying to get 8 first places or 10.
and first places. That's certainly an extremely lofty goal, but uh, look, I'm not going to put it past Garth to achieve that.
He's a lot. He is notorious for penalties in normal league and then still like winning the league or at least promoting. And the same sorts of penalties. Okay, the reason Quark I don't feel sorry for him is because he has plenty of history of penalties for being late in normal pro league.
Well, I'm looking
So
at
this is not like out of character.
I'm looking at session 5, and I do see a table with Travis and Garth and Michael on the same table. So Travis is at minus
Mm.
163. That will be an important mark. And Michael's at minus 49. Might not seem relevant yet, but if Garth can have a great series and Michael has a rough one, then that might be a new target for Garth to try to overtake. So, like you said, keep an eye on who you're playing against in the schedule could be very relevant. And the final session, session 6, will be determined based off of the standings at the end of session 5. So we won't know exactly who he's playing, but chances are there will be at least one player in the that's kind of nearby. So be exciting when that
Yeah,
comes out.
hopefully, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully for who, but
Yeah, that's
if
fair.
we're rooting for Garth, then hopefully he has the wherewithal to realize how he has to play against those players specifically.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, this, I mean, it's so important to have a league like this because you gain so many different skills that you couldn't gain like I said, in a normal tournament or just in club play.
absolutely. Definitely going to be exciting to see if there are any bonus promotion slots for this B2 division. The lower we go in the divisions, the more likely it is that there will be a bonus slot. So players like James and Shinlong and Blaine can definitely think about um, putting themselves in a good as good of a position as possible, even if they don't quite make the guaranteed promo zone. Right.
Mm.
The next division is B3, and I believe the top of that division is
Oh, I
Vinny.
forgot. I was gonna also say that Garth. Another thing is there's also bonus like saved spots sometimes. So even though all these have pink triangles right now, those five, there's a possibility that the top one might be saved and
That
remain in B2 as well. So yeah, any points are important to get at this point.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Although, and that is a rarer case, but it happened last season in B1. I think two players got saved actually, so very relevant consideration. Okay, let's see.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say about
I've
that.
got Vinny at the top of B3, and I'm just gonna give this a second to update. Pretty stacked division. Vinny up at the top with plus 348. I mean, we saw earlier it was Barry who was setting records at 379 after 4 sessions. But Vinny's not that far behind. He's not quite finished with session 4. So after 2 games, he could be right about where Barry is. And these stats look almost as insane. 30.9% win rate, huge average win, 9.1% deal-in rate. Excellent EV for Vinny this season. Course, we've got Kate and Brian having amazing seasons as well. I think they just played each other the first couple games of their series against each other. And when you have two people at the top of the division fighting against each other, it's going to be an exciting series. I believe Alon and Alan as well, also at the same table. So everyone at the top of this division with some very interesting uh, fights against each other. Looks like the Alon Allen series is completed, and that is our current top five in the B3 division.
So I'm wondering when players are at tables like that. So like I have my own like strategy. What would you say is the like most common strategy for people if they're, let's say Alon and Alan are at the same table? Are they like playing more defensively to just try and not lose points, or are they trying to like attack each other?
I guess it's probably a bit dependent upon the play style, but I think maybe your goal is just to make sure that at the very least you stay ahead of that other player in the game. That way, even if you you know get a third place, that player's getting a fourth place, so you're staying ahead of them. Um, if it's somebody that is way up there in standings, they're probably pretty good. So maybe you don't want to take that fight head on against them because they've probably got if they're reaching or Ishanta, and you're thinking, should I push this somewhat dangerous tile? Like they probably have a good hand if they're doing so well and they're willing to take that Ricci. So maybe you back off if you're a cautious player, or maybe
Yeah, and
you
like
say
yeah, I have ideas of what you should do. I'm just wondering what the tendency is for players in, let's say, B3.
in B3.
What
I
would you?
feel like the tendency is to fight and take that battle
Mm.
head on and just like that your tempai. I don't want to let you win. I want to be the winner here. Because if I win and hit you directly, then I'm going to be even further ahead. So I'm going to take that fight. Is what I feel
Mm.
tendency is. Although there's some players like Brian, who's an 8 don on Tenho, who will probably just play whatever is best for that spot in the game. But
なるほど。
I do
Mm-mm.
know some of these players up at the top definitely swing on the more aggressive side and are more willing to fight.
That's interesting that they're more aggressive, but they have such a low deal-in rate.
Yeah, I mean Allen with what 5.9%, and that average deal-in is
I
crazy as well. Uh,
mean, it's a very small sample, but it's
sure,
still
sure.
so low.
Yeah, I suspect the players at the top here, they're people to me who I think of as very good at playing efficiently. Brian, Kate, Alan are all very efficient players. I don't know. I haven't seen Vinny play too much, but I think a Richinomi player. He's very efficient as well. And Alon, I believe, has played in the WRC before, so surely,
I think maybe all the WRCs.
yeah, surely a strong player then, uh, in terms of hand building as well. I believe I recognize Edward's name as well as a uh, strong player in terms of efficiency as well. So,
He's a swingy. Wait, who did we say was a swingy player? I'm sorry, Korak is saying he took last in B2 last season. It's having a run back now. Is that Vinny we're
oh,
talking about?
probably Alon.
Oh, Alon. Okay, sorry.
Alon's one of those
Yeah,
players
mixed up the
that
names.
whenever I watch him play, he always is so unlucky. Like he'll get Ishan 10 for this incredible hand and then just stay there forever, or he'll slam an early Ricci with a good weight and just get chased and deal in. As it's like the commentator's curse whenever I watch him play. It has gone in unfortunate ways, but I don't think I've cast an Alon game yet this season, so maybe that's why it's going so well.
Oh, that might be the next one. If Alon and Alan are at the same table, that sounds like it's going to be a good match.
Yeah, I think I saw all those games pop up in the game results, but I guess they're done with their series, but
Oh, okay, okay. Damn, that would have been a good one to watch,
it
probably.
certainly would have. It also would have been confusing for the commentators to try to not mix up those names,
True. I guess you can use nicknames at that point. Tenho names.
right? Or location, like one's Philly and one is New York.
Yeah, that's good too.
But it looks like the players up at the top are sucking away all the points, and only 10 players are positive in this division. The others are on the lower side right now. And the battle for the demotion relegation zone is going to be as intense as it is in NB3, I think. Um, Actually, the standings look extremely similar in terms of where the players are sitting right now, points wise. So will certainly be an interesting watch for the final couple of
Gifted
sessions.
Alex said that he was on the Alon Allen table and they were a mixture, but mostly they were both aggressive.
Oh, that's Alex. Oh, hey Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's we've got the insider info now. Yeah, I imagine.
Alon got a Dewey WRC, all green, and made it past the cutoff. Ooh.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yes, I also barely made it past the cutoff. I think I was last place to make it past the cutoff.
Hey, that's still making the cut, right?
Yeah. I don't think I played. Did I play against? I don't remember if I played against Alon or not. I definitely see him every WRC, but I can't remember if I played at the same table as him or not.
Well, now I'm really hoping that at one of these IRL tournaments, Alon is there and I get to play against him. I've never met him, so I would really like that opportunity. Maybe the NAO.
Oh, yeah. Where is that and when is that?
I've
Is that
heard.
announced?
I'm not. I think it's probably announced. I've heard rumors that it will be in uh, California, but we do know the date is going to be over Labor Day weekend. I think that's
Mm.
uh, start of September.
Mm, 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 mm.
Yeah, I've been saving that date and just like looking at all the flights to various places around the country to see like, all right, if it's here, what do the flights look like? If it's here, what do the flights look like?
That's funny.
We've got one more division. Let's. Uh,
Yeah, B3 was really hard to get out of, I remember.
yeah, I mean,
I had a rough time. The first season for me was so rough.
all sorts of different play styles, and you've got the people from C1 who are super strong players who are just like charging through to try to make it to the top, and you have to contend against those players. It's always a challenge. Okay, C1 is the final division, and it is pretty large division. We can't even fit all of the names onto the screen right now, but currently we have Gino up at the top, Oliver close behind, Christy, Danny, Dylan, Michael, all in the promotion zone. over 100, many players over 100, all the way down to ninth place.
Oh, wow, you can't just get 100 in this league and move up.
That's right. It definitely a dogfight at the top. And I actually know a couple of these players. I've played against the top three in IRL tournaments before. Gino, I met in Chicago. He dominated most of the game that I played against him. Oliver, I met in Cincinnati. He also dominated the game that I had there. And then Christy, I've played a couple times at various tournaments, and she's quite strong as well. Um, I am, my I think most memorable Christie moment was in Cincinnati. There was a really close game, and she was building Chinitsu in all last, and I was so scared because if she wins, she passes me up, and if she's the only player Tempai, she also passes me up,
Oh,
and it was and so I was trying to maintain my own Tempai, but I was just praying that I didn't draw any monster because I didn't think I could push anything, and I got
it's interesting going for building a Chinsu, and all she had to do was get past you.
right. It was like
So,
a
yeah.
3,000 something gap, and that's just what the hand was like from High Pie. So I guess that's what you have to go
I
for.
hate it when that happens. You only need 1,000 points, but you have like these Dora that are hard to use and make it so you can't call and you can't discard them or
It was an
I hate hands
incredibly
like that.
intense situation, so that's probably why it sticks in my memory so much. But yeah, all these players, I'm
And
not
also Quark says the PML will be hosting North American Open, so it will be California, assumedly.
excellent. Good to have that confirmed. So definitely get. I know which area to lock onto in terms of my flights. But yeah, all these three players at the top I've played before, and I'm not surprised to see them doing so well here in C1. And for the players after that, I don't think I've met uh, any of them, but looks like they're doing extremely well. Again, I'm seeing some very low deal-in rates, and I think that's seems to be really consistent in these lower divisions. Players who are able to build hands while defending really well, seeming to do quite well. I guess that's going to be true for all divisions, but it's particularly pronounced here, I think. Just comparing some of
Yeah,
these averages to the
I
rest.
think now I've come up with a new strategy for the last two sessions.
Well, I mean, if we look at some of these players who are just missing the cut, Andrew S has a 24% win rate. That's pretty good. Eden, Senhao, Donald, like 27, 26, 26. Those are some really high win rates, and you'd think that they'd be fighting for the top, but it's those 21% deal in, 50% deal in. That's what's holding these players back from breaking through to the guaranteed promotion zone. They still have a very good shot at making that zone in the last couple sessions, or even getting one of the bonus promo slots that are more frequently seen in C1. But that's the difference right now between the top five and the next five is that deal-in percentage.
How many players did you say are in this league total?
32, I believe. Let me just
Oh, okay.
yeah double check. Yeah, 32, and there's no
This,
relegation zone for C1 currently. So I think as far as we know, players at the lower portion of the division don't have to worry about moving down division. That would be if a new
mm,
C2 division was created, and not 100% sure yet if that will happen. It depends on the number of people that sign up and the number of hiatuses. I don't know what the plural for that word is. That
hi,
could
die.
that get taken. But depending on that number, which will be probably determined at the end of session 5, that will dictate whether a new league will be created. It'll be really exciting.
Because if there's no demotion, then there's almost no reason to. I mean, you would just go for highly efficient, high scoring hands
Right, and
basically every time. You have nothing to lose, literally, and everything to gain.
yeah, and for players in C1, a big goal is to be in the positives. As long as you are above, as long as you are non-negative, so at zero point 0.0 or higher, you have a chance, however slight it may be, to promote. And we've seen multiple times in the past players who just barely negative, missing out on one of the bonus promotion slots. So anybody in C1 watching this now, and you're slightly negative, make it your goal to at the very least be finishing in the positive zone. Always have a chance if that ends up happening.
Well, good advice. And yeah, I'm glad I came. I've got like lots of ideas for next session.
Yeah, we'll definitely be trying to cast some actual mahjong for the next session. Hopefully, we get some Wednesday games scheduled, and might even try to get some bonus promotions because we're heading towards the end of the season, and that means the games are going to be even more intense. And I always love watching these end of season games where there's a lot on the line and people's play styles change a little bit. You know, swinging more aggressive if they need points, or playing to their condition to guaranteed promotion if they're already somewhat safe. It's always exciting to
The
see how that shifts the game.
Cork says only 6 are guaranteed to move up, but historically there have been around 12 to 14 every time. So yeah, that's almost every positive person.
That's a good note for everybody in C1.
I think that I actually did. I think not last. Was it last season? Maybe both last season and the season before. Um, in the last game, I took smaller hands. I won with smaller hands just to get closer to promotion, even though I knew it wouldn't put me in the promotion zone for
Mm,
sure. There were still other players with other games, so there was no way to tell what the promotion line would be, um, like what the guaranteed line would be.
mm-hmm.
And so I just got closer, and I think it put me within 1 or 2 of the promotion zone, and that's how I got the bonus slots. So yeah, definitely aim to be close, even if you don't make it all the way up there.
Right, and of course, due to the league being, based off of the individual player's schedule, you have 2 weeks to schedule your games. Some players, some tables get their games finished before others. There's probably a little bit of an advantage to being in the later table because then you know exactly what you need to achieve. But if that's not possible, you need to finish the games earlier. That advice is really solid because you won't know what the mark is that you need to hit as long as you can give yourself a target and try to get as close to that target as possible in your series. That does give you the best chance possible to either get your promotion slot or snag a bonus promotion.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell exactly where the line is going to be. That's always the it sucks when you're so close but didn't quite make it.
uh,
Especially when you find out what it was after the fact. But
the
yeah,
there's some historical data because we the league's been going for 2 years, but that isn't guaranteed to be super useful every season. Um, I feel like this season in some of the divisions it's reflecting maybe a winter of 2022 or maybe it's like a summer of 2023 or something, and maybe you could use that to try to predict what the final situation is going to look like. But
mm,
it's I guess I'm more familiar with what happened in those seasons because I've commentated all the games from those seasons, so I kind of know what the standings looked like at that point in the season, and can
mm.
match it back. But that's not so useful for a non-broadcaster. So, but you can still look at the final standings and sort of see, hey, the top of the division was at plus 150, and right now the top of our division is at plus 150. So maybe the and the spread looks kind of similar. So maybe it'll happen the
Mm.
same way here. Sort of guess at what your target could be.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you just have to use whatever you can, right? So-
Right. I mean, there's nothing else to go for. And so any data is somewhat valuable, I guess. Yeah, I think
Makes sense.
overall these final two sessions are going to be as exciting as always, and there are some very specific games that I'm really interested in broadcasting for session 5 and session 6. So I'm gonna try to keep an eye out for when they get scheduled and try to catch those ones in particular because I think there'll be a lot of interesting swings that happen out of as a result of those games. So look forward to that.
Yeah, the broadcasts are always fun. Hopefully, I can get in and commentate a couple more this season.
Absolutely, would love to see that. I guess the only other thing I was thinking about for the day was the upcoming IRL tournaments. We've been talking about things like the NAO and just the incredible calendar of events that we have this year because a lot of players in the U.S. or a lot of clubs are holding WRC qualifying tournaments, and we've got a few coming up. In fact, one is happening this weekend. The RIT Nine Gates tournament is happening February 24th through the 25th, and
Where is that? I'm
that's in
sorry. All right.
Rochester, New York.
Okay, the Rochester one, right? Okay.
And of course, registration for that is closed, but I know a lot of people who are heading down to it. I think even League Founder is flying out. The ARML champion is heading out to Rochester. It's going to be really exciting to see those results when they come in and see the next batch of players to get points for the U.S. Invitational to potentially make the WRC qualifier. Soon after that, in mid March, I guess a month later, is the Philly Ricci Open, and that is March 23rd through 24th. I believe registration for that is also basically completely locked. One of those tournaments that got announced and that filled almost instantly.
I
So many players in the
think
U.
there's a waiting list even, right?
Exactly that density of mahjong players, Ricci mahjong players in the East Coast, New York area is really strong. So that one's going to be a huge tournament and really exciting to see what happens there. The next tournament that has available spots, I believe, is the DC Ricci Open in Washington, D.C., April 6th and 7th. And you can register on their website. I think if you just search up the DC Ricci Open or the DC um, Mahjong, Ricci Mahjong, you can find their website to register there. They're really close to breaking 100 players to increase the number of players that get potential WRC points. So with I think three more players, we can add a few extra qualifiers for the U.S. Invitational. So if you're interested in visiting DC in the beginning of April, definitely search that up. And
I
let's
wish
see.
I could travel to all of these.
Every time a new tournament pops up, I'm like, oh man, I can make this happen. I can do that. This next tournament that's happening
Like
in
so many of them like overlap with like any of them that are the first weekend of the month overlap with the professional league and
oh,
things like that. So it's really hard to travel.
well, I mean there's the UC Berkeley Open that's happening in mid-April, April 20th, and I'm like
Masters.
I've never visited California before, and I'm getting so tempted to fly out for that. I just saw a really
Ooh,
cheap
nice.
flight, and it's really tempting me. But yeah, that has a lot of spots available, April 20th and 21st in California. So that one I am really excited for. And then we've got the Columbus Open in May, mid-May, 11th and 12th. That's in Ohio. Also be a qualifier. I don't actually know the number of participants who have already signed up, but registration is open for that event. And we're running out of options. I think the next tournament will probably be the big New York tournament, the Ricci Nomi Open, that I think is the largest tournament for the U.S. They've had over 100 people in their last event, and it's looking to be just as big this year.
So it's gonna be bigger than the North American Open even, or
I believe the cap is lower than the North American Open's cap,
uh,
but
mm,
given the number of people in that New York area, I imagine it will fill up very quickly, and so I believe that it looks like it's going to be July 6th, but I don't think registration is open for that just yet.
Another league weekend.
All these tournaments you can't travel for. But the
Yeah.
NAO, is the league still happening in early September?
Yeah, April to January.
Oh
So
my goodness.
actually February, March would be the easiest, but
You'd be missing out
I wasn't able to make it. Yeah.
on the NAO early September, like first week of September.
hmm
That is so
Yeah.
unfortunate. Yeah, NAO in I think it's a 3 day event. It's going to be a huge one, and one I definitely want to participate in. I'm hoping that we have a lot of international players as well at the event because it will be a not just a tournament that qualifies as a U.S. WRC qualifier, but also the I believe the top placing finisher gets a guaranteed WRC spot. So there's a huge prize up for grabs for anybody who from around the world who wants to participate.
Interesting. So it's not an actual. Uh, so even if they're from a different country, they take the American spot?
So yeah,
How does that work?
it is just a WRC spot that's being given away at this particular American tournament.
Oh,
In
so it's
term,
not one of the American like
right,
slots.
right. It's
Okay,
just a
okay. Or the
general.
US, sorry, US slots.
And of course, the U.S. players who participate in this tournament will still earn points towards their own U.S. qualifying system for their invitational. But the WRC spot that's given away straight away to the top finisher, that is open to anybody.
Understood. Wow, good luck, everyone. I'm
Yeah,
jealous a little bit.
I
I will
am.
stay here and try and grind my way up to win something or other.
I can't wait to see that registration get open and just look at all the people who register for that NAO. And those are all the tournaments that I'm aware of. I mean, outside of the final event, which will be the U.S. Invitational, based off of the number of points that players earn at all these various WRC qualifiers, they'll have a chance to compete for the American contingent to the, I guess I should say, the U.S. contingent to the WRC. So all those tournaments leading up to one big tournament, leading up to the biggest tournament, the WRC in 2025.
Awesome. I can't wait to see everybody here. Whether or not I play, I don't know if I'll be able to get a spot or not, and then try somehow. I don't know exactly how the spots are being distributed in Japan and in JPML, but I will be there nonetheless, whether I'm playing or not. So I can't wait to see everybody.
Definitely hoping to be one of those players, but if not, good luck to everyone who does end up going. And I'll look forward to seeing everybody at all of these, or as many of these live in-person events as I can.
And post pictures. If you join my
Absolutely.
Discord for the study session, I should make a channel and post pictures for all the live events so I can live vicariously through all of you.
Yeah, I guess that given that we've covered the midseason, all the midseason standings and all the upcoming tournaments, Jen, if there's anything that you want to mention again to people who joined and missed our discussion earlier, um, yeah,
Yeah,
join.
this has turned into a big Gen commercial.
Well, I
Sorry,
mean,
but thank you. If everybody wants to study, you can study for free. I can have priority for seating. We have study sessions every month in my personal Discord. Um, we just started this month, but it was so good, and you can hear a live commentary of a professional player's hand as they like stream it, which I think it's never, it's just not something you can just do every single stream. So it's a pretty special opportunity. The next one will be March 24th at the same, well, it will be after the Philly tournament. It's 9 p.m. So technically, people who play in the Philly tournament could also still come to the study session if they choose.
yeah, you
But the next guest will be Shintaro Kono, who is when I think of a mahjong study session, he's the player I think of first and foremost. If I'm ever gonna have a study session like live, I would invite him first because he's such a good teacher and mm, and I don't know, he explains things so they're so easy to understand, but also goes really into depth
Hmm.
in depth. Sorry, with it the concepts. So I'll be interpreting, and yeah, I think we also have like other mahjong. I mean, all the mahjong discords have a lot of discussion and like hands posted and stuff, but you can also post them. We have actually have some pros in my Discord, like members of my Discord. So you never know, they might actually like comment on the hands that you post. Maybe I'll push them to.
Yeah, and of course, I definitely recommend it. Am a part of that server, and I always pay attention to whenever something gets posted there, and whenever analysis gets done. So I really get some use out of that. And for people who are interested in joining the American Ricci Mahjong League and participating in the upcoming spring season, registration is still live, and you can register all the way up until March 11th. That will be the cutoff date
Ooh,
for
I'm,
that.
yeah, come join. I know there's a lot of new players, actually like pretty good players that we're not connected with, like the American Reach Mahjong League community,
Mm-hmm.
that have joined my Discord as well. So if any of you are watching, come join and move up and play with me.
Yeah, that's the wonderful thing about having your channel and all the other mahjong related channels connected. Eventually, we will connect everyone to the American Region Mahjong League and get everyone in here. But yeah, definitely join us. It's a lot of fun. And for viewers who would like to see more from this channel, you can follow us on Twitter/X at American Ricci. You can visit our website, AmericanRicci.org, of course, for the registration, also to keep up to date on standings and other league related info. And of course, if you'd like to see this VOD and any other of our former videos where we actually watch some of the Mahjong games that are being played, visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/American/ad American Ricci, or use the tiny URL link that's on your screen. Well, thank you so much, Jen, for hopping in and sharing so much.
Thank you for letting me bombard you
It was a lot of
in the
fun.
middle
I
of
was
the stream.
surprised to hear a voice like, "Oh, this is Jen. This is going to be great." I really appreciate it because this stream is going to be much shorter without your insight.
I had a good time. Thank you. Yeah,
All
for
right,
letting me just promote myself for an hour.
no problem. And thanks to all the viewers, of course, for tuning in. See you in the next stream. Have a good one, everybody.
Yeah.